So we all know Sonic has a lot of enemies. Quite a few over the tons of games that exist and everything. Like Eggman, Mephiles, Chaos, and all that stuff. Most villains don't really stay around for all that long, but most do. And even in the IDW comics, we actually get a ton of new villains, which I really like. It's nice to get more villains for Sonic to fight. But that also got me wondering, why aren't there more villains for other Sonic characters, like villains that are specifically for them? I'm sure a lot of you had this idea at one point of what if a few Sonic characters had their own enemies, and I thought, that'd be a cool idea. So let's think of that. What if they all had their own enemies and stuff, Maybe the Chaotix can have Clutch as a villain since he's like a straight level one. And we don't have much of those that can be like a good villain for the Chaotix to fight from time to time. And maybe Shadow can have Infinite. He's not dead, I think. So, it would be nice to have a redemption in a way. And then Knuckles could have... Well, who would Knuckles really have? Yeah, he has rivals, like Rouge and Storm, but not really anyone that he would call, his own enemy. Or at least in the games anyway. It's just Eggman, but this has to be a villain that he fights specifically, one that is specifically for him. And there aren't really many, at least not in the games. Yeah, there were a few in the Archie comics, and maybe in a few other medias, but never the game. So that gave me the idea to do this. What if we created a villain for Knuckles? So, when making a villain for Knuckles, I wanted to get a few references, a few ideas to basically build up to help get inspiration to make this villain. So first up I got some references for design-wise. I got Boom Knuckles, because, I want this villain to be big and tough, And I feel like Boom Knuckles would be a good reference for the height anyways, so yeah. Next up I got Knuckles' prototype design. I wanted to make his villain specifically based off his prototype design because I didn't want it to just be a random OC, but a prototype character made into an actual character. And what better way to do that than to making him a villain for Knuckles, an arch enemy? That sounds nice. Also, I got Rankles, which is not a real character, but it was like an April Fool's thing. I just thought it would be fun if I added that in there somehow. Also, getting back to the prototype design, I actually did try doing this type of thing a while back, making a villain for Knuckles, not just if he had one in the games, but for this AU that I'm still working on, which is called Sonic High-Speed Adventures. Basically, I wanted to give Knuckles his own villain. I did make a few designs for him, but it didn't really work for me, so I just left it alone for a while. Until now, where I'm basically working on it today. If the design comes out fine, and if you guys really like it, I might actually put this villain inside the High-Speed Adventures AU if you really want it, So, yeah. Now, back to the design. We got everything there. We got everything for how it's gonna look, references, inspirations, all of that. Now let's get to his whole theme. We can't just make a Knuckles villain just out of thin air. We gotta think of how it would be, how it would work, essentially. And so I looked back at the villains that Sonic and Tails have. Sonic's villains, as well as Eggman and Metal Sonic, they're pretty basic, Just gotta stop them, it goes really fast, really nothing much to work with, just all about speed, all that. Then we have Tails' villains, which is Speedy, which was one of them from Tails Adventure, and Witchcart from Tails Sky Patrol. Basically, their whole thing was that they were kind of like an opposite to Eggman in a way, or at least Witchcart was. Instead of having technology, she had magic, and she could fly and stuff, sort of. And, Speedy is a bird, and he could also fly. So, Tails' whole thing had to do with flight in a way, his whole thing, And so, what would Knuckles' whole villain be about? The two things that Knuckles is known for: treasure hunting and his strength. So, design-wise and lore-wise, I wanted to make that a part of Knuckles' whole villain, to better connect him to Knuckles, give him a better reason to show that he is Knuckles' enemy, basically like that. For the final design, I wanted to take inspiration off of the prototype or unused designs for Knuckles' villain design for high-speed adventures, basically using that also as a reference, where he would have like a lot of hair, like big spiky hair that goes all the way down to his back, and he would have some cool ancient jewelry on him that would basically be stolen. This is important for later, essentially. And some goggles, since he's gonna need that to see through all the dirt he's gonna be digging through. And maybe he also has a shuffle, but I don't actually end up making that for the final thing, so spoilers, but don't worry, he probably still has it. And he would always be wearing these goggles, essentially. It would make him look scary in a way. He's like brown, and like it becomes dark brown when it goes to his face and everything. It makes him look like a shadowy figure in a way. Basically making him look intimidating, also cool at the same time, giving him some cool stuff. And I ended up giving him a lot more jewelry, or like some ancient stuff, and even ancient tech, stuff that he stole, or maybe stuff that he made, who knows where he got it from. But it raises more questions for the character and how he got them, how he got the way he is, you know? Basically making you interested in the character, getting you hooked onto it, and wanting to know more. And once I got stuff down, made him look how he is, I managed to get to the final design, which looks like this. Here's a better look at his design. If you couldn't tell, he's supposed to be a mole, where basically he can also dig around holes and stuff and everything. He's supposed to be like a lot larger than Knuckles if you couldn't tell. Here's a better look at the design. You see, he's supposed to be bigger than Knuckles for obvious reasons, you know, he's a baddie. And like I mentioned before, he has the brown hair, and it gets darker once you get more to his face and everything. And without the mask, this is what he looks like. I wanted to give him more uniquer eyes, kind of like eyes that Big the Cat has, to kind of make him look scary in a way, I guess. He's supposed to be a mole, so he also has like different facial structure when it comes to the muzzle and everything. And I gave him a gold tooth. He has a mask on because it's supposed to give off like the illusion that he looks faceless in a way. He looks scary even like in the shadows. And he has the goggles, as I mentioned. The goggles are attached to his mask, so when you both take them down at the same time, it kind of looks like a scarf. You could also like put the goggles up too if you want. Next up, we once again have the stolen jewelry. And all of this ancient tech and everything is actually what gives him his powers and stuff, lore-wise. All of this ancient stuff he took, he stole all of it from random places, random tombs, and one tribe that we'll actually get to soon. These weird arm glove things actually allow him to stretch his arms and punch and grab people and blast them. Kind of like the Werehog and ARMS, the game on the Switch, you know. So, yeah. And it's attached to his necklace as well, if you could not tell. And he also has a belt with a gem-shaped thing on it, you know. The diamonds you can actually press buttons on, and that's basically where he stores stuff like rings and all that. It's pretty cool. And lastly, we have the shoe sandal things, where I don't really know what they do. They're kind of just there to look cool. Maybe they help him go fast, maybe they help him hover or climb, you know? Make up your imagination. And yeah, that's basically what he looks like design-wise and how he works, essentially. How he would fight and all that too. Now, let's get to his name. What would his name be? Seeing how a few, or not most, Sonic villains have some pretty simple names, they're really complex ones. How would we do it? Will we make it really simple or complex? I think I would just make it just pretty simple. So, you know, we got Dr. Eggman, or Robotnik, he's known as Eggman most of the time. We got Witch Card, which is Tails' villain, you know, it's a witch and a card and everything. For this one, I'm thinking of calling him Gem Reaper. You know, because he has tons of gems and he would probably steal them stuff. But I feel like the word Reaper could work well to make him look more sinister in a way, or sound sinister. Yeah, I feel like Gem Reaper would work. And just for the freak of it, I'm thinking maybe like the characters, when they fight him or like they see him, they would like nickname him Gold Digger. just to mess with him, giving the villain like a main nickname. I feel like that works well. So yeah, the character's name is Gem Reaper. Now for Gem Reaper's lore. How would his lore go? Like this. Many, many thousands of years ago, before the echidnas went extinct, they had an enemy that would always go around stealing some ancient tech and jewelry from the Angel Island, and that was none other than Gem Reaper. He would always go around doing this as he was evil and was always trying to steal treasure and stuff, and always went to Angel Island since that had the most stuff there. Eventually, he would come across the Chaos Rings. He had heard rumors that it was essentially the echidna's way of trying to store chaos energy and other stuff, trying to make more chaos emeralds, but they were lost over time. Thus, the Chaos Rings were born, and Gem Reaper managed to get all 6 of them. With all 6 of their power, he thought that maybe he could use them to get the Master Emerald, and maybe even the Chaos Emeralds themselves, but the echidnas had other plans and went to go and stop him from doing so. Eventually, the echidnas were able to get the Chaos Rings themselves and use their power to send the other Chaos Rings and Gem Reaper into the special stage, where the rings can never be used again, and Gem Reaper could never find them. Thankfully, all the rings, as well as him, were sent into different special stages. The one that Gem Reaper was sent to was one where basically nothing could really happen. He couldn't age, he couldn't move, he really couldn't do anything. Until millions of years later, he was able to escape. And now he is out in the present world where he seeks revenge on the echidnas and plans to steal all of the things there, even the island itself he needs to. And it's where he sees that all the echidnas are extinct. There's no one to stop him. No one except, well, Knuckles, the last of the echidnas. And thus, the enemies become how they are. That's why they hate each other. Their whole thing, their whole origin. And that's if I made a villain for Knuckles. I hope you all enjoyed this. Don't think this is just like a one-time thing. If you guys liked it this much, I might just make more villains for maybe Amy or Shadow or other Sonic characters. Just let me know your ideas and I might try and do that if I have to make a sequel to this video. And, like I said before, this isn't just the thing that I'm gonna do once and then never again, or never use the character again. I might just put Gem Reaper in Sonic High Speed Adventures if you guys really want to. Just let me know if you guys want to see him and I might just do that. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!